Coming up tonight on YCN News, an update on the James Robarge murder trial. We'll learn about Claremont and Unity school budgets and a cheating scandal at Dartmouth College. For more news, weather, and sports, it's time for YCN, your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth Lake Sunapee region, southern Vermont, and Windsor County. News, sports, weather, and all that is happening in our area. The news on YCN, your local view.
Good evening and welcome to this Friday edition of YCN News. I'm Laura James. With jury selection underway as murder suspect James Robarge awaits the start of his trial, the judge that will preside over this case dealt Robarge's defense team a blow. Sullivan County Superior Court Judge Brian Tucker ruled physical evidence collected by police as they search for Kelly Robarge will be allowed for jurors to see when the trial begins, reports the Keene Sentinel. Law enforcement from several New Hampshire agencies searched for Kelly after locating James. Kelly Robarge was reported missing by a family member on the June 2013 day. She filed for divorce from James Robarge. When police found James Robarge, who drove himself to a Vermont hospital the same day as his wife's disappearance, his sneakers and shorts were blood-stained. Police maintain the blood is Kelly's. Kelly Robarge's remains were found in Unity early in July of 2013. In other Sullivan County public safety news, Claremont Police Chief Alex Scott seeks the public's help in locating the owner or owners of 3 guns seized following Wednesday's arrest of Jason Carrier. The weapons are a Taurus PT-845 ACP handgun, a Gamma rocket air rifle with camouflage stock, and an SKS GM 4774 1959 assault rifle with a folding bayonet. Anyone who may be able to identify the owners of these 3 guns is asked to call the Claremont Police Department at 603-542-9538. Jason Carrier and Jennifer Weeks, both age 28 and both of Central Street in Claremont, were arrested Wednesday by police on charges of drug sales. Claremont police worked with the New Hampshire Attorney General's Drug Task Force on the investigation for several months. The street drug charges involve the sale of heroin, cocaine, and crack cocaine. Carrier is charged by police with 4 counts of selling controlled drugs in a school zone. Weeks faces 1 charge of a controlled drug in a school zone. Both are being held in separate facilities, and both will be in Claremont District Court January 13th for probable cause hearings. In other regional news, school budgets for fiscal year 2016 are under review. In Claremont, a proposed $30 million budget will be up for discussion by residents over the next several weeks. Building renovations at the Broad Street School continue. And also in school news, a $3 million budget is proposed for the Unity School District, which belongs to SAU 6, along with Claremont and Cornish. Now, collective bargaining agreements will need to be settled among SAU 6's 3 school district unions. Superintendent Dr. Middleton McGoodwin tells YCN News. Tomorrow, the Kearsarge Regional School District will hold its deliberative session at the high school in North Sutton. The meeting begins at 9 a.m. and 6 articles will be reviewed by residents of that multi-town school district. First among the articles is a proposed $39.9 million budget. After the break, we'll learn about the Dartmouth College cheating scandal.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Laura James. One member of the Vermont congressional delegation is going on the record about voting against the Keystone XL pipeline. Democrat Peter Welch says today the pipeline would cost too much and could hurt the natural environment. The risk is too great. Even so, today in Washington, the U.S. House approved the Keystone bill despite a presidential veto threat. That, according to CNN, the pipeline would bring oil from Canada to the American Gulf Coast. Speaking of Vermont, yesterday's inauguration was marred by protesters who made their point to lawmakers that a public hearing on the now squelched plan by Governor Peter Shumlin on a single-payer health insurance plan should be held. 29 people were arrested by Vermont law enforcement and all charged with unlawful trespass for refusing to leave the State House. In addition, 10 people out of this group, out of 29, also were charged with resisting arrest. A total of 29 people were removed from the House chamber and issued citations to appear in Vermont Superior Court. Washington County Criminal Division to answer charges of unlawful trespass. February 26th is the court date. In her inaugural speech yesterday, New Hampshire Governor Maggie Hassan says expanding commuter rail service from Boston into New Hampshire is critical for the state's economic growth. The governor outlined the benefits of bringing commuter rail service to Nashua and Manchester yesterday at the State House. Hassan's entering her second term and is facing Republican-controlled legislature. The governor's executive council continues to review expanding passenger rail service between the two states. The cost to do so remains under study, too. The Lowell Sun reports that Hassan says expanding rail service would allow New Hampshire to better compete with Massachusetts for business and residents and may spark economic growth in the Granite State and encourage young people to stay. The New Hampshire Rail Transit Authority projects a rail from Boston to Manchester would have about 3,000 riders a day. Up to 64 Dartmouth College students, including some athletes, could face suspension or other disciplinary action for cheating in an ethics class this past fall. Dartmouth officials say students implicated in the cheating scandal misrepresented their attendance and participation in the undergraduate course entitled Sports, Ethics, and Religion. That according to the Boston Globe. The class issued electronic handheld clickers registered to individual students to answer in-class questions. College officials said students charged with cheating either gave their clickers to classmates instead of attending class themselves or helped others cheat by using the clickers to answer questions on their behalf. Dartmouth professor and chairman of the religion department, Randall Balmer, alerted college administrators to the possible cheating scandal. Balmer noticed the electronic system was receiving more responses than the number of students that he saw sitting in front of him in the lecture hall. Balmer says the irony of the situation, alleged cheating in an ethics-related course, is inescapable, and he called the matter very sad and very regrettable on many levels. YCN News will be following this story. When YCN News returns, we'll join Kearsarge Chronicles' Lynn Solomon, who spoke with Deb Johnson, Vice President of Ledyard Business Banking.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Laura James. The weekend is upon us. Let's see how the forecast is looking for the next couple of days.
Thanks, Laura. Tonight will be mostly clear with a low around 7. Wind chill values may be as low as -2. Saturday will be sunny with a high near 18. Wind chill may be -3. Saturday night will be partly cloudy with a low around 2. Sunday will be partly sunny with a high near 22. Sunday night will have a 30% chance of snow showers after midnight with a low around 16.
Snow Country Snapshot is brought to you by Bubba's Bar and Grill in Newbury, New Hampshire.
Hey everybody, Hallie O'Brien here at Mount Snow in southern Vermont. Mount Snow is actually celebrating their 60th anniversary because some brilliant mind named Walter Schonkeneck decided, you know what, I'm going to put a ski resort right here. Also, check out the farm. It's a new terrain park. While others are going urban, they're going rural.
This week we reached a whole new level of cold, so snowmakers were able to max it out and ski resorts are near 100%. Mount Sunapee has their snowmaking towers going full blast this week so they can ski every single snowmaking trail this weekend. It's time to cheer on the Pats at Pats Peak, of course. Enjoy the Saturday game on 5 big flat screen TVs with surround sound.
Mount Snow has 4 different mountain faces and they all have different personalities. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, there's the main face, which is predominantly intermediate terrain. We groom a lot of it. It's the north face, which is all expert steeps. Then we've got Sunbrook, south-facing mountain face, all intermediate terrain.
Nice.
And then Corinthia, which is 8 different parks, 100 acres of freestyle terrain.
Stratton does their girls' time out this Sunday for snowboarders. This time the theme is diamonds, and appropriately, these shred betties are going to hone their skills on the steeper groomed trails. Saturday is Fat Day at Bromley, PHAT, which means protect your head at all times, and they're giving away 5 kids' helmets.
It is always a great time at Mount Snow and always a bluebird day if you're catching my drift. Head over to snowcountry.com for more weather and conditions. I'm Hallie O'Brien, and we are going to go grab some pizza at Tony's. See you next week.
And now let's take a look at our YCN community calendar. Tomorrow, check out the Enfield Farmers Market in Hughes Park from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Norwich, Vermont is holding its Farmers Market in Tracy Hall from 10 to 1. There will also be a solar power forum in Hanover at the Black Center starting at 10 a.m. You can see our full calendar online at ycnnow.com/calendar. On Thursday night, the Lebanon Raiders hosted a doubleheader versus the Marauders from Hanover. In the first half, it was a typically hard-fought, scrappy contest between the two local rivals. Hanover's J.J. Daniel gets a nice assist to teammate Christian Crotoro to put Hanover up 25-23 late in the first half. At halftime, the 2014 NHIAA Division II state champion Lebanon field hockey team was honored at center court for their achievement. The Raiders finished the season with a thrilling double overtime win versus Wyndham in the championship game. Coach Deb Beach and several of her players showed off the state championship plaque to the packed house. With under 10 seconds left in the game, Hanover's Crotoro gets this basket along with the foul call to tie the game. She then hit the foul shot to give the Marauders a 1-point lead with 7.7 seconds left in the game. Following a Lebanon timeout, senior Vanessa Fleury hits the short jumper at the buzzer to give the Raiders an exciting 1-point victory. Fleury finished the game with a team-high 18 points for the Raiders. Lebanon is now 3-2 and will host Kingswood on Tuesday. 1-4 Hanover will host Sauhegan on Saturday, January 17th. Following the girls' game, a ceremony was held to rededicate the Lang Metcalf basketball court. Raider co-captains Braden Estes and Austin Whaley carried out a square piece of the Raiders' old gymnasium floor and presented it to Metcalf's son, Chip. Chip, a longtime assistant to his father, then hoisted the heavy memento over his head to delight of the crowd. Members of both of the boys and girls Lebanon basketball teams then congratulated the 10 members of Lang Metcalf's family who participated in the rededication ceremony of the newly refurbished Lebanon basketball court. In the game itself, Lebanon's Austin Whaley hits this shot at the buzzer to put the Raiders up 28-12 at halftime. At halftime, the ceremonies continued as members of the state champion Raider track team were honored at midcourt. In the second half, Tim O'Rourke makes a nice fast break layup to keep Hanover in the game, but Lebanon, behind the great passing of KJ Maddie, here hitting Cooper Lytle for the hoop, went on to win 48-34 to sweep both of the game versus Hanover this season. Lebanon is now 2-1 and will travel to Kingswood on Monday. Hanover will play at Sauhegan next Friday. These games will be the next 2 YCN games of the week.
Thanks so much, Matt. When YCN News returns, we'll join Lisa Cannell and John O'Connor for this week's News and Review.
The YCN News continues in a moment.